Hello and welcome back to another Unity Tiny video. In this video, we'll be stress testing Unity Tiny to see how many entity units we can spawn at one time. So let's get started. I've gone ahead and set up some code to quickly spawn in some units, but that's pretty boring, so I'll just pop that code up real quick now. But if you saw in the code, if I push U, it'll start spawning in some units. You can also see there was some debug in there that'll tell us how many units we currently have spawned. If I push U again, we can spawn another 200. Are we lagging yet? It doesn't seem like it. The controls are still pretty responsive. Let's spawn another 100. We're up to 300. We're still pretty responsive on the controls. Let's spawn another 100. It took a lot longer to spawn that 100. And it is starting to get a little laggy on the controls, but that is still pretty impressive. We have 400 units spawned right now, and it's not just units. Here, let's try to spawn another 100, because it's not exactly lagging. It just slowed down a little. But it's definitely, we got some lag going on now, for sure. But it's not just animated sprites we currently have spawned. There's physics loaded in, and there's multiple systems. There's a health system, a death system, an attack system, a collision system, a ground system. And to prove that, if I was to try to jump into the middle of these, I think it's lagging too bad for us to actually see. Let's refresh the game real quick. Let's spawn in 100 units, drop down, and you'll see that they're actually all trying to attack me, and they're actually able to kill me once I lose all my HP. Which shouldn't take long considering how many are fighting me. But I wonder if we take off some of these components, if we can spawn in some more units. If we go back into the program, you can see that we have lots of stuff loaded on the enemy entity. All of these systems, all of these other animations. So the first thing I think we can try doing is removing the animation component and removing all these extra animations. Let's go ahead and click play and reopen the game. We spawned in 100 pretty fast, 200 just as fast, 300 just as fast, 400 slowed down just like last time. It's not as unresponsive as it was. Let's try another 100. It's taking forever to load in this 500. So my guess is what's probably lagging it down the most is the physics system. So let's remove the physics system and see how many we can spawn in then. So we'll remove the velocity 2D, the rigid body 2D, the box collider 2D. And we'll just go ahead and remove the movement also. So now all we have is destructible, health, AI, and input. So that's still a few systems running. But that shouldn't really matter that much, right? We got 100, 200, 300, 400. We were able to load in the 500 just fine, so you can see it was mostly the physics system that was really lagging us down. But let's go back in and just go ahead and remove all of these systems and see how many we can actually spawn in. So all we have left is the transform and the idle animation with the Sprite 2D sequence player. Let's go ahead and click play, reload the game. The game's reloaded, and let's start spawning in units and see when it starts to lag. We're at 500, there doesn't seem to be any lag yet. We can do a full attack with it being just as responsive as it was with no units in. Let's keep spawning and see if it gets laggier. We're at 1,000 units, are we lagging yet? Nope, it still looks exactly the same as it was. Let's keep going. Now at 2,000 units, it's gotta be lagging by now, right? Doesn't seem to be. We still have nice movement. The attack system's still very responsive. Let's keep going. We're at 2600 right now, but let's go ahead and spread these units out more. Since we have no physics or collision or any attacking or any type of system, let's just spawn them more across the entire screen. We can make it between -2 and 10 instead of -2 and 5. We'll save that, we'll go back into Unity, compile, and rerun the game. I think we're around 2600, so we're getting pretty close. Okay, we're back at the same spot. We're not lagging. Game still feels exactly the same as it was with no units spawned at all. So let's keep going until we feel some lag. We're up to 4,000 units and we're still not lagging. That's pretty ridiculous. Unity Tiny is way more performant than I was expecting it to be. And this is without doing anything. We didn't sprite atlas these entities. We didn't do anything. We're just spawning in an entity group. Still doesn't seem to be lagging. We're up to 6,000 units. They're still spawning 100 sets of units in at the same exact amount of time as it was before. Our input system is still just as responsive as it seemed to be. It might be slowing down just a little bit, but it doesn't really seem like it. Of course, it's a little hard to tell when we're talking about just a little bit of lag, which is ridiculous considering we have 6,400 units spawned right now. Let's keep going until we can find some obvious lag. We're about to break 10,000 units and it still doesn't seem like we have any obvious lag going on. There might be a little bit, but you can tell when we jump up in the air and the physics brings us down that it is still pretty smooth. Our cape shaking animation is still pretty smooth. All 10,000 of the units that are currently on the screen are all animating in a pretty smooth frame rate. This is pretty ridiculous. I was not expecting to get anywhere near this type of result when doing this video. Before I made the video, I did spawn 4,000 units, but I was expecting to start lagging well by now. We've actually hit an unable to allocate more memory before we started lagging. That's kind of crazy. So I think Unity Tiny can handle any need that you might need for your project. I hope this video showed you what Unity Tiny can really push out. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and a like, and please leave a comment below if you would like to see more videos like this. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.